Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Questions with Connie. As you can see, I have updated my background. Let me know if you like it down in the comments. If you don't, however you feel about it, perfectly fine. Just let me know in the comments, because again, trying to work on things on my videos, so appreciate any opinions or criticisms. Moving on. So today's video is another movie review Monday, and I wanted to do a video on the movie Night Swim. So this is probably a movie that you may or may not have heard about. I know I didn't really even know it was in theaters. It did release in theaters back in January, and then it came on Peacock to stream on April 5th, I believe. And that is where I actually saw it and first heard about it. So I had no idea anything about this movie until I saw it pop up on my screen on Peacock when I went on there to look at something completely different. I've been watching Chucky, the show, lately on Peacock, which highly recommend if you haven't watched that. Hilarious. Highly recommend if you haven't seen it. Pretty good show. So I went on there to watch that, and that's when I saw the advertisement or the little pop-up for Night Swim. So I hadn't heard about the movie, but I did see that it was a in-theater at-home release. So that always intrigued me, because I love when those movies come out at home, because I prefer to watch movies at home if I can. I will support a good movie that I really anticipate seeing in theaters if I'm really eager to see it. However, my preferred method of always seeing a movie is, of course, at home. Why? Because I love my house, and because I can control the temperature, I can control the snacks or foods that I'm able to eat, I can pause the movie when I want to, and I can use my own facilities. That being said, I just wanted to put that in there just because ultimately, you know, that is my favorite way to watch a movie, but I will go and support a movie in theaters if I am excited to see it. But back to the point of this video. So Night Swim. Did I like it? Absolutely. So I highly recommend watching this movie, especially if you already have a Peacock subscription. Why not? It's free. It already comes with what you're paying for, so I definitely think you should watch it if you have it. You should go the extra mile of getting a subscription if you don't already have one. I mean, it's up to you. If you go to the site and you see that they have content that you like otherwise, then probably. But if not, totally up to you. But I have definitely started streaming services purposely for the intent to watch a specific movie or specific content that they have available versus ones that don't. So definitely recommend going on Peacock to watch this movie, because it's great. Honestly, I am a big fan of Peacock, the streaming service in general, because they do have a lot of in-home theater releases that I have loved. For example, one of the newer Halloween movies did come out really early on their service, and I loved that. I was able to watch it at home. It was awesome. So definitely recommend checking them out if you don't already have their subscription to them. But getting back to the movie, so this movie is a movie starring Wyatt Russell, who is the son of Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. So those are usually some bigger named actors that you're more familiar with. Well, he is their son, and I think he's awesome. Everything I've seen him in so far, I have loved him in. So he was in a comedy. He was in 22 Jump Street, which he had a small part in, relatively small, I would say, but he was great in it. And then he was also in the Black Mirror show that's on Netflix. Great show, and his episode in particular I thought was really great. So if you haven't seen that, definitely recommend checking that out, because it is also a great watch. But this movie, came out on streaming, so I was like, okay, let's go ahead and watch it and see what it's about. And it was kind of a random thing, because I had been seeing it on there, but I didn't really pay much attention to it. And then we were looking for something to watch, and we decided to put it on and see if it was any good. IMDb rates this movie right now at a 4.7, which is not very great. For the most part, horror movies kind of get a bad rap when it comes to ratings anyway. Most of them, at best, receive a 7, and that's high for a horror movie. Usually they stay pretty steadily between a 5 and a 6, I would say, even if they're great. And this one in particular, having a 4.7, I thought was really low for what it is after I watched it. I would give it an 8 out of 10 personally, because I thought the acting was great, storyline was good, ended well. So those are some things that definitely matter to me when it comes to these movies. One of the things that I do plan on putting in all of my videos on movie reviews is the Question, did it pass the husband sleep test? So this one, without further ado, it did. So not only did it pass the test, but it passed it with flying colors, because my husband absolutely did not fall asleep or get bored at all while watching it. And the caveat to that is that we also started it late. We started it at about 11 at night, which my husband's usually asleep by then anyway, so it definitely takes a lot to engage him after sleepy time hours. So this was one that he watched the whole way through and even watched something afterward, so that told me that he definitely liked it. And we discussed it afterward, and just, how we thought it was definitely not one that had a lot of advertising, or as far as we saw. But also, just to kind of put it in there, disclaimer, we don't have any actual cable services or live TV services. We just watch streaming really for the most part, and we don't even listen to radio really anymore, hardly. We actually go through, I believe it's Napster, or we go through Spotify. We're just not a huge fan of commercials. We avoid them if we can. I know that's most people, and that's actually why streaming services got their start to begin with. And not to go off on a tangent, but I am also not liking the fact that more and more streaming services are adding commercial. That just kind of defeats the purpose, in my opinion. That is kind of the whole reason why mainstream cable TV got edged out, was because that was the benefit of streaming. So now that they're incorporating that back in, I'm not real too happy about it, especially because you now have to pay to get rid of those things which were included to begin with, and why you started the service. But anyway, so I just wanted to add that in there. If you're feeling like I am, again, comment below, let me know, because I definitely think that they should do better to try to avoid charging people to do what they were already promising to do to begin with. But that's just me. But more back to the story. So with this movie, again, I thought the acting was great. Ending was great. It had a Grudge vibe to it that I will not go too far into, but there is a part where there are certain characters that start to cry this kind of black liquid. And because of that, it just kind of very much had Grudge vibes for me. And again, this is without going full detail into any backing of the story, or if it's a remake or any of that. I did not go deep dive into any of that. I just watched the movie for what it was, and this is my take on it from that. But I liked the acting in it. I thought the storyline had great continuity. I thought that it didn't really go too slow at any particular part. It had great pacing. And the ending I liked, because some movies, try really hard to intentionally keep it open for a secondary movie, or will kind of draw from straws as far as to keeping the franchise going, even when it probably shouldn't. And when a movie just kind of wraps things up in a good way, where it may not have a second or third, whatever part, but it just wraps things up well for you, and you feel like you got closure on the storyline, I appreciate those, especially because they're more few and far between now. But you may feel how you feel about it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Thought it was great. As far as the scary to story ratio, so this is something that I refer to when discussing movies with my husband, and it's because so often we see movies where they will have a whole lot of scary, like jump scares and, murders and gore and things happening in them, but then there's not a whole lot of storyline, so you don't really get to feel very much for the characters or learn too much about them, which to some people that's their cup of tea. You may feel how you feel about it, but then there's the other aspect of that where you get too much storyline. You feel like they waste a lot of time going too far into the why behind something rather than just getting to the point. So for those things, I usually will kind of gauge how did that flow? Did they do well at balancing that out, where you had good storyline as opposed to the scare parts, or was it imbalanced? So for me, this movie had a great balance to it. There was definitely enough storyline for you to connect with the characters, but not so much that you felt lost in the slow parts. So that is an important aspect to me when it comes to movie watching. So if that matters to you, then I would definitely say that this is a movie that you should take a look at. And overall, you know, one of the other things that I do rate a movie on is the would I rewatch and buy the movie aspect. So for me, this one was definitely one that I would definitely buy and rewatch. And part of the reason for that is because I pretty much immediately wanted to watch it again, just because it was fun to watch start to finish. It had a good vibe to it. The other thing I like about the movie is that, and if you've seen this movie, you know what I mean, the movie Lights Out and this movie both have this great draw for getting or tapping into your childhood fears. So for Lights Out, it's that fear of when you're in the dark, or you turn a light out or you turn a light on, and your imagination has gone wild with something that looks the shape of something scary or horrifying, but it really isn't. And this one, it is the fear of all things lurking in the water when you're in the pool. Both are possibly, you know, going to be those things that aren't really necessarily rational when you're thinking them, but at the end of the day, they're definitely something that connected with me and resonated with me in my childhood fears. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I used to, you know, do the whole thing where you imagine, you know, a shark lurking in the depths of the deep end of the pool, or you thought about a hand reaching out and grabbing you, or same thing as how The Grudge has that part where there's a hand in the person's hair when they're taking a shower, and they feel it when they're reaching back to touch their hair when they're washing it. Horrible. So those are all things that kind of just sit in the back of your mind and eat at you while you're having these moments alone. So I think that when a horror movie can tap into those things and reach into your childhood fears, that is a win every time, because it definitely makes you go, ugh, and you don't like it, but in a good way. So if that is something that you like or you think is interesting, then this is definitely a good movie for you to watch. Like I said, I highly recommend it, especially if you already have a Peacock account, because you're not going to pay anything extra to watch it. So you might as well take advantage of the subscription fee that you're already paying. And yeah, it's just a great fun watch. I liked it start to finish. My husband definitely liked it. And like I said, I would give it a 8 out of 10 for sure, and would definitely rewatch and buy it. Something I want to add as a caveat to this video is don't cheat yourself out of watching a movie just because of the ratings. So I know in another video I did talk about how I go on IMDb and I do read through some people's reviews to kind of gauge whether or not I want to watch something. So not saying that you shouldn't do that. By all means, have your method of how you want to decide if you want to spend money, spend the time, what have you. I will just say that I have cheated myself out of an in-theater experience of watching a great movie because I read too far into the reviews, or I let them sway me. For example, the Candyman remake that Jordan Peele did. First of all, definitely can say right off the bat I am biased. I loved everything Jordan Peele's come out with. I have not missed a single movie. I'm pretty sure I own every single one of them and love them all. The Candyman movie in particular, I loved it when it came out on home release. I bought it immediately and watched it because I had put it off for such a long time because of the reviews. I thought, I'm not sure if I want to see it. I don't know. I liked the original so much that I'm not sure how I'll feel about it. 1000% regret that decision. I wish I had gone to support it in theaters because I loved it. I thought it was such a great, dark version of the original. And I also really liked that he put his own spin on it, in the sense of bringing the, social aspects that resonate in life into the film. So some people, that was a big issue for them, and that's why they rated it so low. I have zero problem with that. At the end of the day, there's a reason that there's a saying, art imitates life. And as a person who deals in art, like directors or artists or, musicians, all of those people, if they want to bring their own life experience or what they feel is something that resonates with them in life into their art, I 1000%, support that. I think that if you think something needs to be brought into the forefront, that's awesome. And if it connects with people, amazing. So for me, the ending credits where they do all those puppeteering stories of real true life stories, man, that was impactful. Seeing that was just, you can't not connect with it on a human level. seeing and hearing the stories, or at least that's how I feel personally. So I really, really enjoyed watching it start to finish, and again was really disappointed that I didn't go see it in theaters and support it. But I just wanted to add that in there, that if you want to see a movie and you think it's debatable based on the reviews, maybe just go for it. If you really support the person who is directing, or you like the actors, whatever it is, or if it's just your cup of tea or you're curious, do what you want to do best. Don't always go by necessarily what someone else says, because you may be missing out on something that you like. Because I can tell you there are plenty of movies that I absolutely love and will rewatch every single Halloween season to this day that are definitely not well liked or well received review wise when they come out. Anyway, that's where I'm going to wrap this video up, guys, and I hope you enjoyed this review of Night Swim. And definitely, if you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, so that way the next time I do a movie review, you don't miss out on that. But thanks so much again for watching, guys. Bye.